welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reading you the book Little Fur Family. It's written by Margaret Wise Brown, who also wrote Goodnight Moon and The Runaway Bunny. It's illustrated by Garth, who has illustrated many books, but one we've read on the channel is Bedtime for Francis. So if either of those names or if the writing style or the pictures seem familiar, that might be why. Before I read you the story, I want to teach you a new word if you've never heard it before, or review it if you have. The word is onomatopoeia. It's really fun to say. I'll say it one more time. Onomatopoeia. And what that means is when a writer uses a word to express or represent a sound. So we've seen that many times in the stories I've read on the channel. For example, in Corduroy, when the lamp falls over, the author uses the word bang to express the sound of a lamp falling. In the story A Little Bit Brave, the author uses a lot of onomatopoeia, but one example is when Logan dives into the river and she writes the word splash. That word is expressing the sound that is made when you dive into water. One last example is in the book Wolfie the Bunny. When the father rabbit is taking photographs of Wolfie, the words click, click are written next to his camera. And that is meant to represent the sound that a camera makes when you take a photograph. So the reason I wanted to teach you that word or review it is because the author uses a lot of onomatopoeia in the story Little Fur Family. And so while you're listening to the story, just kind of keep your ears open and see if you hear any examples of onomatopoeia. I hope that you love this story. Little Fur Family. Story by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Garth Williams. There was a little fur family, warm as toast, smaller than most, in little fur coats, and they lived in a warm wooden tree. The little fur father said good morning one day, put on his hat and went away, out into his little fur world. The little fur mother bathed her fur child, and off he went to play in the wild wood where they lived. It was a wild, wild wood. Wild flowers grew all over the ground, and wild winds blew through the air. Wild nuts fell from the wild nut trees, and wild grass tickled the fur child's nose, tickled his nose and made him sneeze. Ka-choo! Ka-choo! That sneeze woke up his grandpa, who lived in a hollow stump. And Grandpa came walking, thump, 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 and walked out of his hollow stump and said, "Bless you, my little fur grandson, every time you sneeze." Kerchoo! "Bless you," said the little fur child. "Thank you," said his grandpa. Then old Grandpa went thump, 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 and walked back into his hollow stump. And the fur child went on through the dark and sunny woods till he came to a little river full of fish. The fish didn't have any fur, and they didn't have any feet, and they swam around under the river. The little fur child watched them for a long time. Then he reached in the river and pulled out a fish and looked at it. And then, kerplunk, he threw it back in the river. He reached into the air and he caught a flying bug, and he held it in his hand and he looked at it. The bug didn't have any fur. It was shiny and had little wings. Then, sip, he threw it back in the air. Then he caught a little tiny fur animal, the littlest fur animal in the world. It had warm, silky fur and even a little fur nose. So he kissed it right on its little fur nose and put it gently back in the grass. And the little tiny fur animal ran down a hole into the ground. The sun went down beyond the river. The sky grew wild and red, and the little fur child turned around and ran for home. And just as the darkness got very dark, he bumped into his big fur mother, and she took her little fur child home in her arms and gave him his supper. And there was his father, who put him to bed, and they tucked him in bed all soft and all warm. And they held his paw, and they sang him a song. Sleep, sleep, our little fur child, out of the windiness, out of the wild. Sleep warm in your fur all night long. In your little fur family, this is a song. The end. I hope that you loved hearing the story, Little Fur Family. I'm going to put on the screen the different examples of onomatopoeia that I found. If I missed any, send me an email and let me know about the examples that I missed. That's all that I have for you today, but I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.